Hey, everybody, you are watching and listening to the We Are Rising podcast. This is your host, Andrew Benjamin. I am joined by my co host, the mouth from the South, Jay Christian Gary.
Hey y'all, how's it going? Even though we can't see Andrew's face for some odd reason, still though, we're here to talk about. Enough about all that. We're here to talk about Pancrase 327, which is going to take place from the Tachikawa Stage Garden venue in Tachikawa, Tokyo, Japan, which will take place August 29th, this weekend. What am I saying? April 29th. April the 29th. Midnight Eastern. Well, damn it, what am I saying? I'm sorry, CJ. I'm kind of screwing the intro up. Point of the matter is, Pancrase 327 is going to take place from the Tachikawa Stage Garden, Tachikawa, Tokyo, Japan, April 29th, 12:30 a.m. Eastern. You can catch it all on TGET for the English broadcast, or you can basically pay the X amount of yen, the 1,500 yen, to watch it, and you will get the chance to hear CJ Charles Jewett talk about Pancrase MMA along with his partner Guy Delamo, the native Hawaiian. And speaking of Charles Jewett, we are on the line with him right now, the former Indianan now residing in Tokyo. How are you, CJ?
Good. How you doing, Jay Chris?
I'm doing all right, sir. But
Actually, that's the most important question I got to ask, CJ. Is it pronounced Tiget or T-Get?
Which
It's
one?
been a highly debated topic.
I'm sorry?
It's been a highly debated topic because I thought it was Tiget, but then when we talked to Grant Bogdanov, he said it's probably like a Japanese translation of tickets, so T-Get, something like that.
Oh, you mean the pay-per-view provider?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Let me.
So, what's your thoughts? How is it pronounced?
How's it spelled?
Tiget.
Tiget.
It's like tiger, but with a T at the end instead of an R.
Yeah, I see what Grant is saying. I bet they're just trying to make it look like ticket, but it's ticket.
Oh.
I wanted to instinctively just pronounce it like tiger, but with the T, so Tiget. But I'm pretty sure now that it seems like it's pretty much wrong at this point.
Well,
there
is no TI sound in Japanese, without naturally. You have to go out of your way to make it. So it's kind of interesting. But yeah, if it's an I tends to be more of an E sound in Japanese when it's by itself.
I gotcha. But first of all, congratulations on your commentary debuting gig.
Thank you. Yeah, looking forward to it.
And so this is going to be Pancrase 327. Pancrase has had they're calling it what they call it? They're calling it New Chapter. That's what they're dubbing themselves.
Yeah, they've had some interesting changes recently. As you guys know, Pancrase was one of the first MMA promotions in Japan, obviously, but after the MMA boom kind of died down, they went through some problems, like a lot of the promotions did. And Sakai came and bought it and took over and kind of rescued it and rebranded it and made it to what it is today. And recently, he's taken more of a backseat role, and a guy named Fukui is taking over and running the operations now. And he ran the first show. The last show is the first one he was the CEO of. So yeah, it's kind of a new generation.
And so I've noticed with Pancrase, what do you think about their attempts to expand to this in the English market this way? They're not on the UFC Fight Pass anymore. So they're going through this way. What Deep doesn't really do anything English. Well, recently I know that they updated their social media to make it more English friendly on Instagram. And
Which
Shuto
one? They have 6 different Twitter accounts, but
and then Shuto's in its own universe. So out of the kind of the 3, I guess, main promotions, the regional level promotions in Japan, Pancrase seems to be doing the most in terms of just like true English outreach.
Well, that's a good observation, and it's not something new. Pancrase has historically, of those three, been the one that's always had the most interest in going abroad and reaching out abroad. I mean, historically they've been the promotion that's brought in more foreign fighters. They're the promotion that sends probably more fighters to the UFC, and they've always kind of catered more to the international market. They have a really solid production value. I mean, Sakai really turned things around because I believe before Pancrase, he bought and turned around a pro wrestling company. Was it called Smash? I think it was called Smash.
I remember that promotion. Wasn't it owned by Tajiri?
Yes, exactly. So I think he was involved with that and was very successful turning that around, and same with Pancrase. And he kind of changed the way Pancrase ran. They have super high production value now. They have like cameras everywhere. And I'd like to see him on Fight Pass again, but pay-per-view, I mean, I think they priced it right at 1,500 yen. That probably breaks down to like $12. And that seems like a reasonable pay-per-view, because sometimes these guys have these international pay-per-view prices and they kind of price them out of real. What was Rising used to be like $50, right?
Yeah, that was through their own streaming service. If it was like through Live Now, the way that we watch it in USA, it's like around 20 or depending on
$25, so to speak.
Yeah, that's way more reasonable than what it was, because I remember they were on Fight TV, and then they dropped out, and then the price skyrocketed and everyone complained. And yeah. So I think $12 seems like a great deal, especially for some diehard MMA fans.
And so also the other thing is that Pancrase Studio Coast is not around anymore, unfortunately.
I love that venue because I grew up playing games like Street Fighter and Mortal Kombat. And so the idea of having fights inside of a disco club like really scratched that itch of like having a giant disco ball and like having people sitting in the VIP section and having a VIP like DJ booth with Akira Maeda up there watching the fights wearing a suit. It was just an awesome venue. So sad to see it go. It's one of the many victims of the coronavirus, but right now they've been finding some other cool venues in Tokyo that promotions like Stardom use. So they've been finding some cool spots.
I still hope that one day an MMA show will happen at KBS Hall Arena in Kyoto. You know that arena?
I don't want to go all the way down there.
Oh, the arena's so cool though.
That arena is like a shrine. It would be so magnificent just to see a mixed martial arts event, whether it be in a ring or a cage, take place there.
I will say this venue, I was looking at it in the website, and it reminds me of Tokyo City Hall, where it might be that the cage is up on like a stage and all the fans are on one side of it. With like several levels.
Okay, I see what you're trying to say. Okay.
It's like it looks kind of like imagine like an opera hall. So it's probably gonna be a pretty cool venue, because the cool thing about Tokyo Dome City Hall is if you're on the second floor, you're like right over the cage because it's not that big of a venue. So you're looking right down into it. So it's a super cool view. So I'm wondering if that's gonna be the same.
And basically, if you're like one of the rowdiest of fans, you're like right on top of the action.
Oh yeah. I've always thought, I mean, I don't know about you guys, I've always preferred to not be like on the ground level. I've always preferred to be like on the first or the second level looking down into the cage.
But, because it gets a better view.
Yeah.
Then again, if you have a ring, none of that's an issue. That's just my personal preference.
I love the ring. Yeah.
I'm gonna get a bunch of angry messages from Jay Wolf now about the ring now. So I set myself up for that one, Jay Wolf. But let's talk a little bit about this card. I know you wanted to highlight some fights, CJ, that you think are particularly stand out for you.
Yeah. So I mean, obviously the we've talked a lot about our love of Daisuke Nakamura, some of the old vets fighting, and we have Yuki Kondo on this card. I remember watching him I didn't know who he was. The first time I ever saw him fight, he fought Vanderlei Silva, and it didn't go well for him. But this guy's been around for so long. So it's great to see him still kicking. I mean, he's getting close. He's over 100 fights now. He has to have over 100
He's over
fights.
100 years old. Dude, that's over 100 fights. Yeah.
But I think Pancrase keeps it fun because they find opponents that kind of are the same level as him. And so it keeps, you don't have to worry about like watching a guy get blasted. Like they're not putting him in there against Mike Tyson. So it's gonna be competitive. They have their guy, but I'm saying the guy he's fighting, Suzuki, he's 43. Don't let that confuse you. He's only 10-2. This guy's fight wise not that old. Not a lot of miles on the engine. And before his last fight, I think he was on an 8-fight win streak. So a pretty interesting match for him. And his opponent trains at Miwi, so that means he trains with Kudamoto, Shizuka Sugiyama, Murata. So I mean, Kondo could lose this one. Kind of interested to see what happens.
It's also his return fight after over a year. I'm not so sure what the layoff reason was. But yeah, you know, this is Suzuki's return fight. Meanwhile, while Kondo's been on like every other Pancrase card that I've watched, taking on all comers, you know, young and young, old, middle-aged. Yeah, it's like you know, I've noticed that every Japanese promotion, MMA promotion, seems to have that one veteran who's been around since like forever.
Well, to answer your question to respond to your statement about the Europe, I think this is Suzuki's Pancrase debut. So this is his first fight in Pancrase. So that might explain why it was taking a while.
Gotcha. Okay.
But yeah, you're right. A lot of these promotions, they have a couple of veterans kicking around. And you'll see it on Shuto show, you'll see it on a Deeps show, you'll see it on Pancrase. But I mean, not a lot of guys like Yuki Kondo. I mean, he also fought Travis Fulton guy, right? The guy that had like all those fights in the US.
Yes.
Then
he even fought Josh Barnett.
Yep.
And 1,000 years ago.
Don't let the UFC hear this, but he also fought and beat Frank Shamrock, one of my personal favorite fighters from back in the day, who the UFC never talks about. He's been blacklisted, but
here's the thing. He's also, you know, the crazy thing is that his first fight was in '96, and he's probably fought longer than some of the fighters on this card have been like
alive.
Yeah. Fully fledged humans.
I was looking at his page. I mean, guy's got a 60% finish rate, and fans love a finisher. And when you got a 60% finish rate, almost split middle. It's like 20 knockouts, 17 submissions. See, this guy's able to do it both, which I think that when you're watching a fight and a guy can finish it in any way, I think it leaves you a little bit more on the edge of your seat. It makes it more exciting.
Speaking of finishers, in the sole welterweight, I think in the welterweight main event.
Well, the Yuki Kondo fight it's no longer a lightweight fight. It got moved to welterweight.
Yeah, I saw that on the Pancrase website. So I was about to say the sole welterweight fight. I stand corrected. The welterweight main event of the show. We got one of my favorites, someone who I'm looking forward to, is who I think is going to have a great career in MMA, Yusaku Kinoshita.
Yes.
Making his return to Pancrase, taking on Akihiro Murayama. And so what do you saw Kinoshita at Rizin? What do you think about this young kid? Do you think he can be one of the next big forces at welterweight, a Japanese welterweight?
Well, first off, that rising stoppage is kind of bullshit because
I
think that fight, it's one of those situations where the best example might be the Anderson Silva, Matt Hamill knockout, where not Luke Skywalker, but Matt Hamill knockout, where the fight was already over. Like it was just part of the ending sequence. And that's why I thought it's kind of bullshit. But
I think it should have been no contest. That's my person. They should have just said, I think you can't retroactively change a fight's decision. Like when Shibatar tapped out Hiroya. I think that's a different case because he clearly tapped. But this was a case for he didn't grab. It was just yeah. It should have been no contest,
I think
and
it's
they
just
should redo the
because
fight.
Aoki raised a stink backstage, and they had to do something. But
Oh yeah,
welterweight is kind of an interesting division in Japan right now, and it needs a star.
especially in Pancrase.
It needs a star to kind of get it up and going. And at 21 years old, and I'm going to call him undefeated because that fight that's not a real loss. That's like a Fedor / John Jones loss. Yeah, I mean, this is the kind of guy you want up there to try to build this division up.
And especially because Rizin has nobody in their welterweight division.
No.
I'm pretty sure Shuto doesn't. I know Deep, they they probably have a comparable one, but at least it seems like Pancrase seems to are trying to develop a welterweight division, and even and also middleweight as well on the post slims. There's gonna be a middleweight fight on the post slims. So yeah, they're definitely yeah, but yeah, you think that would you definitely call him a prospect at this point?
I would, yes, definitely a prospect, and he's got that one thing I love, and that's the 100% finish rate. I mean, that's what you want to see in a prospect, right? You want to see when you're fighting your way up the ranks, that's when you got to be finishing people. Like when you get to the point where you're fighting someone like a GSP, if that goes to decision, that's going to happen. But these young guys, you want to see them smashing their opponents and making a statement that they're prospects, and that's what he's doing, and that's what I like to see.
Do you have any thoughts on his opponent Murayama? I know Murayama's been around for not as long as Yuki Kondo, but he's still. I think you could definitely call him a veteran of the game.
That he's got two wins over Kondo.
Oh yeah, exactly. Yeah. So there's that, and yeah, he's fought a long time. So
Yeah. Well, I know he trains with a Guy, so I'm kind of interested to see what Guy has to say about it on fight day. But I know he comes from a judo background, and he started judo as 15, so that's almost close to 30 years of judo experience. Mm-hmm. So this guy, you got to think he's going to try to grapple, but I mean, Kinoshita's got to be the favorite going into this, right?
Oh, I absolutely feel like Kinoshita's got to be the favorite. Then again, listen, hey, it's MMA. Ortiz choked out Ryan Bader, so you never can say never say never in MMA.
It's very true. It's very true. But gotta wonder, maybe this is an attempt to kind of rehab Kinoshita back on the right path after that DQ and get him up and going again. But I think he's the clear favorite going into this, and I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, all paths look like he'll probably finish his opponent if the past fights are any notice. So
I definitely do feel like, though, eventually, maybe depending on how this fight goes, definitely Kinoshita should get somebody who's much like a Daichi Abe or Strasser. If Pancrase could somehow get Strasser as well, he definitely needs somebody who's Sumimura. He absolutely he did dominate and did defeat, and I'll say lowercase d. So I mean, actually, if Pancrase wanted to do that fight as well, I could definitely see them trying to get. They want to try to get Sumimura. He's with is he with Deep or is he with Pancrase? I forgot.
I believe he's with Deep, isn't he?
I think you might be right.
Yeah.
So
I would be fine with any of that. I don't think it's realistic for Strasser to go to Pancrase or Deep at that level because he sat out for so long waiting for Rizin. I don't think he's interested in fighting for anyone but Rizin at the moment. And I think that now that the pandemic's over, Pancrase has a strong history of bringing foreign talent over. And they can bring over some foreign guys. I mean, welterweight's so shallow in Japan right now. If they want to build this guy up right, they should bring over some international fighters for their division.
True. But obviously, who would they have in mind, though?
That's where you got to get the matchmakers going on. Because I mean, I'm such a bad example of like keeping track of fighters outside of Japan. You have
Of
any
course.
ideas, Andrew? What's a good welterweight in the U.S. they could bring over?
A good welterweight. I'm trying to think of
You
it
just
would
gotta
have to be
find like
be
you gotta find
someone
like a
who's not.
journeyman, bring him over.
Oh yeah, there's gotta be somebody. Well, I know that you have JJ Ambrose in is he welterweight or is he fought a welterweight from
And I think
Guam?
fought at welterweight and lightweight actually.
I'm having like a weird moment in my brain right now where the only name I can think of is Chris Lytle. He was like long retired, but he fought in Pancrase before. So I'm like, yeah, let's bring Chris Lytle over. But
I know. So maybe JJ Ambrose. I'm trying to think of any other.
I mean, it's not going to be a problem to find someone. There's, as Shu always says, there's so much talent in like Russia and Brazil right now that
Yeah,
you can find some guys over there just starving for attention.
Unfortunately, when it comes down to Russia, you don't want to get involved getting
That's
any
true.
talent because of current conflicts.
Azerbaijan and other places around Russia. Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. I'm trying to think.
I'm sure you can find some guys in Road FC to bring over if you just want to do like
say that.
Korean
Road
guys.
FC, South Korea. I have no idea what Road FC is actually doing at this point.
They're back up and going now. They're back up and moving.
They are. Oh, okay, that's good.
I honestly thought they were dead, but now they're up and moving again. But I think they lost one of their major sponsors.
Yeah. Okay, that's good. That's good. Yeah, you definitely could find somebody from Guam, Russia.
Yeah.
I know that there's that there was that guy who the lightweight fighter who the
Valley to Japan guy, the guy they brought over from like Argentina or Peru or something.
Yeah, from that Pancrase was regularly bringing over. Because out of all the three promotions, Deep, Pancrase, and Shoot Till, Pancrase was the one that I really seemed to be that would bring over the most foreigners.
Yeah, because I remember back when Rin Nakai was fighting for Pancrase, all of her opponents were foreign.
Mm-hmm.
They brought over foreign fighters for her all the time. And when Shuri Kondo was fighting, they brought over foreign fighters for all the time. So that's kind of how the pandemic messed them up, because they were really good at bringing over foreign fighters. When they lost that ability, they kind of messed up the strategy a little bit. But now that the pandemic's over, well, not over, but manageable, hopefully we can get some more of those fighters over.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, hopefully so.
I also know you want to talk about the Issei Tamura's fight as well.
I do. Okay, so Issei Tamura is on kind of a rough patch recently, but he'll always have a warm spot in my heart because I went to a UFC Japan show and I believe he fought. There was a time period where the UFC was obsessed with having like a strong UFC, like a strong Chinese fighter. And so they had this guy who was really good at guillotine chokes. I forget his name.
Leech Jin Liang.
Yeah, I believe that might be it. And they paid for him to come train in the US. And Issei Tamura absolutely knocked him out, like just absolutely blasted his head off in front of a Japanese crowd. And the crowd went nuts and it was amazing. And he was training at Crazy B at the time with Kid Yamamoto and all those guys. And so I just love it. I just have that's such a great memory for me. And he's like such an interesting guy because he has his own gym. He has a jiu-jitsu gym, but he's never won by submission.
Yeah, I didn't even know that.
You got this guy who teaches all these jiu-jitsu classes, has his own jiu-jitsu gym, never won by submission, only by knockouts. He's a knockout guy.
It's like having a kickboxing school.
Yeah, exactly. It's like back when Vitor Belfort, what used to go by like Vitor Gracie, and was saying that he was doing jiu-jitsu when he was knocking people out. Yeah, okay. But yeah, so it'd be a lot of fun to see him back in there because the way his fights tend to go now, the problem with Issei Tamura is people have figured him out. And what they figured out is he's going to come in and he's going to hit you really hard. And he's going to hit you really hard a lot. And then he's going to get really tired. And that's when you make your move. And so I've seen him fight a couple times recently where the guy just unloads on these guys. And just absolutely blast them, throwing combos, and then he just gets exhausted, and they come back at him. So it'll be interesting to see what kind of changes he makes.
If you watch, if you get a chance, if you haven't yet, if you see his fight with Hirotaka Nakata, he basically is spamming overhand rights for almost all of his offense, and eventually Nakata just figured it out and just was able to just like, okay,
is that
it's
the
not
fight where Nakata
even,
just let him tire himself out, and then Nakata TKO'd him?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember. I was at that fight. Yeah, I was like,
oh yes, and and so like you could tell that Tamura was the first few. Oh yeah, they definitely were hurting. You saw Nakata's face, but then I think Nakata eventually realized, oh, okay, he's just gonna do that overhand right the entire time. So I'm just going to let him throw it. He's gonna get tired, and then Nakata won. And actually, speaking of Tamura, I know he's, like you said, he's on a skid. What do you think are his chances of snapping that skid against his opponent, a much younger opponent, Kisa Miyake?
see, that's a good point you bring up, because much younger. Tamura's 38, and his opponent is 22. His opponent's significantly taller too.
That's tall for featherweight, by the way.
5'5", his opponent's 5'11".
Yeah.
His opponent won the Neo Blood tournament last year, and he's never been finished. And when you have 8 fights under your belt and you've never been finished, that's kind of a statement. So even though Tamura is ranked higher than Miyake, I would pick Miyake to be the favorite to win this. It's younger. Never been finished is big to me, but he's just younger. And I think Issei has kind of been on a downward slide recently, but he'll try to knock him out, so it should be interesting. I mean, he knocked out Horie and he knocked out Ushiku, so he can knock out good fighters.
Oh, he knocked out Ushiku? I didn't even know that. Oh, okay.
Yeah. So
you're saying that he should get that Tamura should be next in line for a title shot in Rizin?
Yeah, I mean, he knocked out Horie too. Horie's got the most dangerous hands in the business. So
yes, especially that right hand. I read.
Yeah,
there was another fight.
I don't know why, but Crazy B is such an institution in Japan. It's just not Kid Yamamoto. There's like Kid Yamamoto, obviously, but then there's Horiguchi, there's Issei, there's Boku, there's Yachi.
I also
all those fighters, everybody loves them.
Yeah,
they're so popular.
I think also the other thing about Crazy B, and I noticed this with Johnny Case, Spike Carlisle, is that it's a place where a lot of the American or the foreign fighters who come in can train, because as you know, Miyu runs it. She speaks fluent English. Probably doesn't have to. You don't need. Probably if a American who's fighting wants to come over, and they just the headache of signing up at like any gym probably is like a nightmare.
Well, I mean, you saw it at the last Rising card. I mean, I think Kyle and Urson were in the corners of most all the foreign fighters.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. They were definitely in the corner for Kyle Aguiwan's fight, especially at the start of the show, because I could hear Urson like cursing up a storm.
But Crazy B is also kind of an exception, because most Tokyo gyms are quite small, and Crazy B is massive. It's a huge facility, so
it looks massive, like from the inside. I can't tell, because whenever they do the Rise Confessions, I look on the outside, I'm like, I can't really tell. But what you Hearts Osawa's gym, that looks like a fucking closet. Like
tiny. Takanori Gomi's gym was tiny. All these gyms are tiny. Chiba. Kind of its own thing, but I'm sorry, what?
Oh, I was about to say Parasha Matsudo Chiba looks huge from the videos I've seen.
I've been to it. It's tiny.
Really? I see, like, it looks like there's like 40 people like wrestling, grappling on there. So I figured it's got to be huge.
Nope. And it might be a different facility, because I know there's different locations. I might be thinking of a different one. The one I went to wasn't that big.
Think of it. It's like, in this case, when it comes down to these gyms in Japan, it's like comparing a small mom and pop shop to a Walmart.
Yeah, and Also, I mean, I've been to K-Clan. K-Clan's tiny too. K-Clan's like it'd be like the basement of just like a little house. It's like feels like you're walking into a basement somewhere.
Yeah, yeah. It looks like, yeah, other than Crazy B, I don't know, maybe was it Team Teppen? That looks pretty big from what I've
I've never been
seen.
there. Yeah. AACC is different because AACC isn't a gym, so to speak. AACC is a team that trains at a Gold's Gym.
Mhm.
And so the Gold's Gym facility is quite large. But Crazy B has a full cage inside of it, which is quite rare. And it's a very large facility by Japanese standards.
I know one of the other fights you were also that you wanted to highlight was Rei Tsuruya taking on Taiki Akiba.
It's kind of a nice transition, especially since you were talking about the Paris Matsudo.
Yes, exactly.
It's like you've done this before.
Yes, I have occasionally.
Oh, BS, dude. You've done this for about 6 years now. And by the way, when it comes down to Tamura's past opponent at that UFC show you went to, it was Chequan, the Wolf.
The Mongolian guy. He's Chinese, but Inner Mongolia.
Yep.
I remember because he had a really cool intro song. He had like that Mongolian throat singing in his song.
Mm-hmm.
Remember, yeah.
But going back to the fight that Andrew was trying to get you to talk about.
Yeah, so Rei is a hot prospect. He is the son of the coach of Paris Matsudo, and he trains with Ohikubo. He trains with Kana Asakura. It's a very solid gym. And he was fighting in deep before this, and he's just 3-0, all finishes, smashing his opponents. And as you can imagine from a guy that trains with Ogikubo and Kana Sakura, solid wrestling background. But I mean, this guy's got fans already. He's got sponsors already. He signed recently with the same management company as Taida, like a US-based.
Sucker Punch Management.
Yeah, the US-based. I think they're in Las Vegas. So, I mean, when a guy goes to Pancrase, when a fighter goes to Pancrase and then signs with US-based management, it's very clear to me what that fighter wants.
He wants to go fight for the biggest promotion there is out there, which is the UFC.
Because it's no secret, in my opinion. I mean, I don't think it's a secret, but Pancrase has always been a direct route into the UFC. I mean, their women's champions have never defended. Emi Fujino was the first ever defended because you became a champion, you went to the UFC. That's just the way it was. It was like, champion? No, thank you. Good, congrats. Good luck in the UFC. Pancrase is like a direct pipeline in the UFC. And so this guy's got big aspirations, big hope, 19 years old, solid wrestling background, and I expect him to do very well.
Yeah, I can understand that, considering the fact that he's a hot commodity, especially considering the fact that he's 3-0. But here's the thing, though. What if Taiki Akiba, who's more experienced at 11, 10, and 1 according to Tapology, stops this man's buzz?
Well, then, I mean, it would show the hubris of signing with management before you're ready to go over. It would show the that he was maybe a little too ambitious early on. And I know that Andrew probably is a big Akiba fan because we all know Andrew loves his Osaka-based fighters. And I was looking at Akiba's Instagram and I saw that he trains with Hagiwara, he trains with Keitaro. So I think we know what kind of fighter we're going to get with Akiba. I don't think he's going to come out and wrestle and grapple with Rei.
Does he have tattoos?
Giant chest tattoo, and yes, he does.
But the problem is that since the fight won't be on Osaka, he won't have that extra plus 10 health and plus 10 stamina. So already, to me, he's at a disadvantage when a tattooed Osaka fighter is fighting in Tokyo.
Yep, he's fish out of water. But I mean, just based off who he trains with and the way that he looks and carries himself, this guy's a brawler. And when you fight a brawler, you can get caught. I mean, he might catch Rei, so it's kind of exciting.
The other thing I also would point out is that not Rei's opponents, other than his last opponent, haven't had the best records. And while Akiba is 11-10 at this point, I'm like out of like none of the fighters that he had before had more than 5 fights. More even close to 10 fights.
I mean, I think that they were trying to have Rei fight guys that had similar records as he did. And so he's still a very young fighter. And I think him signing with the U.S. management this early seems a little too, maybe a little too fast. But just shows to me that he's ambitious. But this fight will tell us a lot about him. Because, I mean, Akiba is quite taller than him, too. He's like 4 inches taller.
Yeah.
But we'd be crazy if you didn't think that Rei's just going to go for a takedown almost immediately.
So, I mean, like on paper, it does seem like this would be Rei's toughest. Or at least, definitely the fight that like will certainly test him the most. As well, as a fighter, he has not been to the 3rd round yet. As a fighter, and
I will say, I mean, I was looking at his social media. Akiba trains at Carp Diem. He's a freelance fighter, but he does his jiu-jitsu at Carp Diem, and a lot of solid jiu-jitsu guys come out of Carp Diem. I know that Aya Murakami trains there, so a lot of solid jiu-jitsu guys. And if he's been training there a long time, maybe he has a solid jiu-jitsu game. I mean, he's got 2 submissions, so maybe he can submit.
I was going to ask, when somebody says that they're freelance, that just means that they're just not connected with a gym. Is that correct?
Right. So historically in Japan, there's like this weird thing that kind of held them back for a while, where fighters would get attached to a gym because they trained there. They wouldn't train anywhere else because they were associated with that gym. And now it's not quite that way anymore. I mean, you have like fighters like Saudi Oshima and Ren at AACC. I mean, it's like the way it is in the US. They train at the UFC. I mean, they train at AACC, but then they also go to Brave Gym to work on the wrestling. They go to Carp Diem to work on the jiu-jitsu. They go to a boxing coach. Well, these freelance guys are kind of let's get really jabbed, like a Ronin, like a masterless fighter who kind of coaches and manages themselves, but they go to different gyms and just like, I go here, I go there, I go here. Like Seika Izawa until recently was free, but she was training at K-Clan, but she was freelance technically. I think now she's officially K-Clan.
And do you think that Rei? Do you think this is Pancrase's attempt at making their own Taira?
I mean,
very similar. Like you said, signed with a
well, they're in the same gym network too, I believe. I think they both train at Paraíso Gyms, don't they? It's not the same location.
Taira may not be anymore. He might, if he signed, he might be actually. I thought he was training full time US
before he signed the UFC.
Okay. Good point. Yeah, before.
I think Taira and Rei, I've seen pictures of them training together, so I think they're in the same network. But yeah, I mean, this is clearly a guy. His father runs a successful gym and is a famous coach. He trains with famous people. He looks like he could be a big star. So why wouldn't you want him? Roll the dice. So he does.
Now, when it comes to the commentary, have you decided how you're going to, I guess, have you got your commentating voice down or figured out?
No, I don't. Not at all. I think Guy's going to be doing most of the talking, and they just want me to do like some color commentary on the side. And yeah, I'm just hoping. I want to kind of keep it light and playful, but I don't want to be like the commentator that's nonstop talking the whole time either.
Of course, because both of us respectively have that in spades. But still, though, when it comes down to who you want to, what am I trying to ask? Have you found any true inspirations for who you want to model your commentary style after? Because we talked about this before we press record.
Yeah, I didn't really think of that because I'm trying to I want it to sound as natural as possible, and I don't want to try to copy someone because I'm not very good at that. You'd definitely tell that I'm trying to copy someone if I was just sitting there trying to copy someone. So not that good of an actor. So I was just going to try to be myself and just throw out the interesting stuff on about the fighters, try to support Guy, put up some interesting tidbits, feed him up some so he can explain some things. Because I mean, he's obviously a former fighter who was a very good fighter. So get him to talk about that a little bit. Yeah.
Of course, of course. And I mean, to be honest, let's just say if you do well and the folks at Pancrase might bring you back, I mean, would you basically say that you would want to do this more often?
Oh, I'd love to. Yeah, I'd love to. It'd be fun. I mean, I went to the last show and sat with them and watched them do it. I mean, it's work. Watching these guys do commentary for 6 hours straight. I mean, it looks like work, but it looks like a lot of fun too. And it's a topic I love to talk about. And when you get to talk to a pro fighter about it, I mean, I'm probably, it's like, what more could I ask for to be watching fight the pro fighter and get to pick his mind and do a little commentary with him?
Now, all great commentators have like their saying, Michael Chiavelli, good
Yes,
night,
yeah.
Irene, Mike Goldberg. And it's all, do you have yours figured out for when there's a big finish that
I was thinking
happens?
about that the other day, and all my stuff sounds so bad. I was just like, whenever I'm watching a fight, I'm like, I railed him. I'm like, that sounds too sexual. I can't say he railed him. like blasted him. Oh my god. I feel like I'm just gonna turn into a kid when I'm watching it and just yell out the first thing that naturally comes out.
Like what? Wow, we G Willikers.
No.
How about, I don't know, crash and burn? I don't know.
Oh no, you don't
Sounds
want to
awful.
go Steve Carino on that one, dude.
What are the classics? So there's Good Night Irene from Chevalo. There's Good Night. Was that the Mike Goldberg one?
No,
What
actually,
did Goldberg say?
what Mike Goldberg saying is, "It is all over, just like that."
Maybe I'll channel my inner Joe Rogan and just claim that it's over before it's over, and it's not actually over.
No.
Every
Don't do
well,
that.
but you have to do every time there's a simple jab. Oh, he rocked him. He rocked him. He rocked him.
Or whenever Joe Rogan's watching an Alexi fight and he doesn't think, he's like, the guy's safe now. The guy taps like 2 seconds later.
You know what? You know what? Come to think of it, I have a couple of, maybe actually 3 lines that could probably fit you well. Let's just say in the case of a first round finish, be it knockout or submission, just say, it didn't last long.
Yeah.
In the case of a second round, in the case of a fight going to the second round, and if it's boring, just say, well, this is predictable. And in the case of the fight going to decision, just say they left it in the hands of the judges, and now it's time for them to decide. Just think of those, just say those basic phrases, and you'll have yourself a damn good time doing those fights. Otherwise, you don't want to go out and be too basic,
I imagine that I'll probably end up saying a bunch of stupid stuff during the commentary, but probably if a fight's like super boring, I'll probably just try to get Guy to talk about what's happening. I'm like, hey, Guy, you're a fighter. What's going on here?
Well, here's the other thing. I don't know if you remember this show, CJ, called MXC on
I love that
Spike.
show. Yeah, I love that show.
So if Guy just like he could just say whatever for like 5 minutes, you could just go, right you are, Guy.
My friend bought all those. It's Takeshi's Castle, right?
Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah. My friend bought every season of that. That show's hilarious. But
I guess also, the other thing that a good commentator does is get over, or they have to put over the fighters, who's fighting and all that stuff. And I'm curious, with Pancrase, and I did ask Stewart this, Pancrase fighters, that don't have the best records or have under 500 records. Do you see that as a challenge? as to how to figure out how to put him over. Or in Stewart's case, he said he thinks it's actually easier because it's kind of like a it's kind of like a comeback. Kind of like, do you feel that do you see that being do you agree with Stewart, I guess, in that case as well? If you have to commentate over a fighter who's maybe 1-2, 10-13 or something like that?
No, because I mean, it is what it is. I mean, if they win, these guys have been gutting it out. I mean, it probably means more for them to get a win than some other people, you know what I mean? So I kind of agree with Stu about the underdog situation, and a lot. It's just like I think there's kind of a different mentality to it. A lot of these guys, especially on like some of the regional shows, like when Pancrase goes to Osaka or like up to Hokkaido or something, this is not their main gig. They work full-time jobs, and this is just kind of like a professional hobby of theirs. So I think it's almost easier to support that.
So actually, so they still go to Osaka, Pancrase?
Yeah, they go around.
Oh, I thought they were just sticking to Tokyo mainly at this point. I don't remember them doing it on show.
Recently, they have because of the pandemic, but before the pandemic, they went to Osaka. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, I know that they haven't recently gone. Okay, I didn't even know that they because I thought they were just operating out of Tokyo for the time being.
Yeah, they usually have, like, when things are working normally, they usually have like an annual Osaka event.
And so like I'm just I'm curious to know, are you also going to dress up? You're going to have a bow tie?
No. I think last time Stewart was dressed to the nines, and Guy was wearing a Pancrase shirt, and I'm just a fat dude from the Midwest, so I got to find a way to look good.
Well, you know what? Just wear a wrestling shirt.
Yeah.
Or you know what? Just wear a Sarah Kubo shirt.
Oh, there we go. They're just wear a coffee cup shirt they have.
People will give you weird looks. Let's just say that. Just dress up like Orange Cassidy. Wear your wrestling shirt instead of like a regular white t-shirt, and just rock a cap or something. Rock a baseball cap.
I should just dress up like I'm getting ready to fight, like put some fight gear on.
No. They'll probably think you're Manoa Man's next victim or something.
I mean, I'll take Manoa. No, I wouldn't do that. Never mind. He'd beat the shit out of me. But yeah.
Or you'd be Yuki Kondo's next fight at Pancrase 228.
And to go to what a previous point that you're saying about some of the fights where the fighters don't have the best records, I think they do a good job of matchmaking those fights, so they're still pretty exciting. I mean, the last event, Durrani fought a guy I'd never even heard of, and he super kicked the guy and shattered his jaw. I was like, holy shit, that was badass. So
yeah,
pretty cool stuff on those fights.
To be honest, I'm pretty sure that was a chiseled down as highlight waiting to happen.
And Durrani also got the win over didn't he beat Kondo as well?
He might. I don't know if he
I think he was going by Kazuki at the time, though.
Okay, possibly. There's a million of those dates. There's a million of them. But yeah.
Did they say that they want to bring you on for other shows sometime down the line? Hopefully, you could commentate over oh my God, Nori? Was that her name? I'm forgetting her name.
Yeah, either one. Yeah, I think Nori might be there doing Japanese commentary.
Oh, okay.
On that, but I think she's involved. She's doing something at the event. But yeah. So for some reason, I think the plan is that if Stewart or Guy is unable to do it due to a scheduling issue or something, I'll just fill in for them.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, listen, Stewart's doing 1,000 things, so that means
because Stewart's got what does he have? He has Pancrase, Rise, Noah, Stardom,
TJPW, I think, as well. Tokyo Joshi Pro.
There's only so many weekends.
Quintet, whenever Quintet plans to return as well.
Exactly.
And also, don't forget, he's also a model as well. He's a professional model.
I've seen him randomly come up on catalogs that I'm like, so yeah. He does
And
slow modeling.
in addition to that, he's also an actor. I think his last film was on Pluto TV and Tubi here in the U.S.
Very nice, very nice. Yeah.
And also television star, as you know, because he was on Why Did You Come to Japan?
So should I go old school boxing? And is the phrase "queer street" no longer acceptable, or
Yeah, Queer Street is no longer acceptable. Just say that he's on loose legs. Or something.
Loose legs? I just remember watching those like old boxing fights from the '60s, and I was like, "What? What does that mean?" I was like, "What's?" But yeah.
Or just, you know what? If you want to really like meme it up, just say, "Oh, he's got the stanky leg. He got the stanky leg."
Ooh, you got the stank leg.
Yes, of course. I mean, that may be a little out of date because it hasn't been used in like 17 years, but it would be acceptable. Way more acceptable.
Yeah, I got to go for some like terrible analogies.
Yeah. Are you gonna do anything like that? You gonna do like a Morrow? He's on more roller skates than a roller jam flight.
My issue is trying to do something like that. My issue is trying to do something like that is the event is like 5 or 6 hours long. So you have to keep it up for the whole, whatever you decide to do, you have to keep up for 5 or 6 hours. And trying to do a Morrow impression would just drain me and almost kill me probably.
That's the thing. I gotta ask. I know there's a lot of fights in this card. I don't think they'll be having you for the prelims or postlims. I can't remember Stewart or a guy doing commentary for those. But like this is, how are you gonna keep up the energy? Are you gonna be drinking some Strong Zero or Monster Energy or something?
Just get progressively drunker as the show goes on and start saying crazy.
Do a little Peter Ahurst commentary.
Hey, one of the best. No. I mean, I'm sure that Guy and my energy, when I'm watching fights, I get pretty into it. So I don't have to worry about that. Maybe I'll have a Mountain Dew or two with me or something to keep me up and going. But I think it should be fine.
I'm curious to know, how is Japanese Mountain Dew? Is it, I can't believe it's as strong as American Mountain Dew.
I haven't had a normal Mountain Dew in so long, I probably can't even tell you.
Oh, okay.
I've broken through the other side where like at first you're like, none of this tastes the same, but after a while you're just like, I forget what the original tastes like, so this is fine.
Because I was also going to say, because listen, if every fight goes to a decision, not every fight's exciting, that does tend to drain the energy. Nothing, there's nothing.
You might see me kill myself in the booth or something. God, if this turns into UFC knockout, you might see a very depressed me in the ring. Or
who knows? The show can wind up being like 1X. Everybody's getting finished.
What happens if I go like super meta and not meta, but I just do an impression of Jason Bateman from Dodgeball?
If you can dodge a punch, you can dodge a ball.
Looks like he knocked him out. Bold strategy, Guy. Let's see if it pays off for him.
Or Ouchtown Population U, bro.
I mean, you should be doing this. You have all the good phrases.
Well, I mean, I want to, but then again, I don't know how I would feel trying to commentate in front of 2,000 people without looking like a complete fucking weirdo.
I'm gonna look like a weirdo. I mean, if I get too excited, I might say something crazy like he punched his fucking head off or something. Like I need to learn how to reel it in.
I don't know if you could tell us, or if but like, did they say like, oh, no cursing, nothing like that? You gotta keep it family friendly.
I've been told nothing, so we'll see. But I mean, if I was there for if I was commentating the Carrie and Emi Fujino fight, I would have lost my freaking mind.
You know what? Come to think of it, I got another phrase for you to use when it comes down to somebody getting knocked out. Just say on the replay that he or she got socked, dropped, and got his blocked or her blocked knocked off.
For some reason, when you said that, it made me think of what the Rock and Sock connection from back when I was watching wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
Was that what they were called? The Rock and Sock connection?
Yeah, that's what they were.
Well, CJ, you gotta think of something, because listen, Stewart's got his, punches and bunches. So you gotta think of something. You gotta think of something for this. I don't know if does Guy have one? I'm trying to think if he has. I don't feel like he does from when I've listened to him on commentary.
Yeah. So what should I do? I need to come up with one for knockout and one for submission, right?
Oh,
I know what you're going. I got one. I got one. You probably won't be able to say this, but I would probably say it because I'm adult. He shit the bed faster than Amber Heard.
Oh wow, very topical.
Yeah, they gotta be topical.
When you let us shit, I thought you were gonna make a Justine Quiche reference, but I'm Amber Heard.
You know what? How about this one when it comes down to a submission? When it comes to in a rear naked choke, he got put to sleep so fast I almost thought that he needed a onesie.
Wait, Andrew, what was that? Andrew, what was the thing you said about Amber? What was the Amber Heard line you said again?
I don't know. Just you have to insert like he shit the bed faster than Amber Heard.
Oh, see, I was gonna say he shit the bed worse than an Amber Heard Justine Quiche slumber party.
Oh no!
Really get into the.
Oh no! You don't want to do that. You do not want to do that. Just stick.
Actually, you know what? It's simple. Listen, somebody gets knocked out. Listen, it's dumb. He got knocked out harder than Chris Rock, than Will Smith knocking out Chris Rock. You know that hasn't been done to death probably at this point.
Yeah,
you got to go other ways. You got to say he got hit like he just made a Jada Smith joke or something.
He got slapped harder than alopecia.
Oh my God. I mean, come on. All these are just so out of date that people, even considering the fact that it's a worldwide event, well, the Oscars were, not Pancrase, people are even going to be tired about this all the way in fucking India.
Well, technically, Pancrase, it is worldwide, Chris. It is, you can buy, it is available internationally. Anybody can buy it. True.
That is, of course, you can buy Pancrase 372, right? No, wait, actually, 327. Of course. But still, Pancrase 327 live, April 29th from the Tachikawa Stage Garden in Tachikawa, Tokyo, Japan. Coverage begins at 12:30 a.m. Eastern on Taigate.net. For the low price, at least in the States, of 1,500 yen, which equals about $12. But still, well, actually, that's when you get advance tickets. If you get them on the day of the show, they're about 2,000 yen, which is closer to about $20. $20 US.
I never understood the whole why is it cheaper the day of, the day before stuff, but whatever.
And also, it's available. Also, you can don't have to stay, because this is the thing about a lot of Japanese things. Things that are streaming. You usually have to watch the day of. You have it till I think the end of April. Not end of April. End of
May.
That's it. End of May. I was like, what comes after April? Yeah.
Oh my God.
End of May. So listen, you have a month to watch it. It's not like not like 2 days. So if you can't watch it live at 5 a.m. or whatever time it starts on the Eastern Seaboard, yeah, you can watch it the next day. But CJ, really looking forward to your commentary, man. Really seeing what you're gonna bring to Pancrase. Hopefully this opens the doors for other things as well. Maybe if Deep finally will start putting, reaching out to English commentary, maybe they'll be the first. You'll be the first person they go to.
You know what? Come to think of it, that reminds me. Deep needs to put their shows back on Fight TV, and I think Pancrase, if they want to get more people involved. No disrespect to Taigate, even though it would be cool to stay on Taigate, but I think that if they want to continue on, they're going to have to eventually move on to another platform as well. At least I hope so. But still, CJ, congrats on the commentary gig. I know this ain't going to be the best quality of fights you're going to enjoy, but hopefully you'll try and make this shit worth watching.
The Pancrase show is always fun. You may not have heard of some of the fighters. Some of them might be a little older, but they got some young talent on there. and the veterans tend to deliver, and I think they're usually pretty fun. So, I mean, I always watch them.
And most of all, listen, this has Yusaku Kinoshita on it, who's going to be a future force at 170. So even if there's nothing to look forward to, if you find nothing on this card, the Kinoshita fight, seeing him fight anytime is somebody who I'm always looking forward to seeing on the in a cage or a ring.
And as long as I sound better than Brendan Schaub, I'll be proud of myself.
Not too hard.
You should definitely strive to be better than Brendan Schaub. Everybody should. But
as long as I'm better than Brendan Schaub and Joe Warren, I'll be happy.
Oh, yeah. Yes, of course. But obviously, the fighters I'm looking forward to, other than Kinoshita, who's going to be a future force in the mythical unicorn known as the welterweight division in Japanese MMA, I don't know if many people are looking forward to seeing Yuki Kondo beat another bum, but I'm always looking forward to seeing the legend Yuki Sora, kick ass and take names. And obviously, I'm looking forward to Issei Tamura versus Kisa Miyake as well, because Issei is a former UFC fighter. But still, though, as far as how people can contact you, Charles, CJ, Jewett, they can contact you on Twitter at CJ_Sogo-Kaku, and they can check out your website at sogu-kaku.com. Am I right or am I right?
Said it better than I could have.
Well, hey, I take up after a guy I'm normally a fan of a guy who used to do promos every 30 fucking seconds. But
who would
still,
that be? Who would that be?
Huh?
Who would that be?
Oh, that would be Jim Mattress Mac McInville, the guy known for saving everybody during hurricanes. But still, though, one more fight I'm actually looking forward to, and we haven't talked about this. Yusuke Kasuya, who was a former UFC fighter, versus Shinichi Taira. If there's nothing else to look forward to, do you think that fight might steal the show?
It's always exciting to see the former UFC guys come into the back down. Plus, I believe, if I'm correct, he also has 100% finish rate, which I love. I love these fighters. It's like the Melvin Manhoefs or like the Robbie Lawlers of the world, who they either finish or they get finished themselves. So always exciting. Plus, he beat Damian Brown. So solid fighter. He's on a little bit of a skid, but when you're fighting guys like Alexander Volkanovski, I expect you to be on a skid. So it'll be interesting to see if he gets his legs back underneath him.
Hey, listen, I don't mind a 100% finishing rate, but I also have to admire a 0% finishing rate like Miyu Yamamoto. And until last year, 2 years ago, Makoto Shinryu. So I have to admire when somebody never finishes just as much as somebody who does finish.
So I do want to say, speaking about strange stuff like that, I'm glad you brought this fight up, Jay Chris, because Kasuya's opponent opened his career up with 3 losses in a row, and then he had 3 draws in a row. I'm like, this guy just gradually getting better. It's like, at least I'm not losing anymore. I got a couple draws out, then I got to win.
Let's just say his career is growing by leaps and bounds.
One step at a time. 3 draws in a row is incredible to me.
Yeah, it is incredible, mostly because of the fact that Japanese MMA has always been known for having not just craziness like this, but they've also been known for, having fights where not only are they indecisive, but they're just, I don't want to say boring, but they lack charisma, they lack excitement.
I'm just still thinking about reeling from what Andrew said. I never even thought of the fact that Miyu would never finish anybody.
No, well, it's true. It's out there in the open for everybody to hear about. She has never finished an opponent in her 6 wins in mixed martial arts.
And she messed up Saudi Ishioka pretty good, but yeah.
That she did.
But do you think that's because, never mind, that becomes me on what to talk, but I feel like she tends to get tired in her fights.
Yeah,
I expect from a 47-year-old mother.
But still, though, man, it's been fun talking with you as usual. And if there's anything that the fans should look forward to for those watching in the United States or around the world, what do you think is the main thing to expect from a Pancrase show, at least from your perspective?
Fun fights. I went to the last show, and I mean, there's some fighters on there I hadn't heard of, to be honest. And that show was filled with crazy knockouts, crazy submissions, and it was a ton of fun. I mean, there was a guy, it was like, I mean, it's just Japanese MMA. There was a guy who used to go by Rocky, but he lost, so he switched his nickname to Rocky 2. And they showed in the pre-fight interview, he answered every question by just yelling the word Adrian. So,
I'm gonna go ahead and take a wild guess that that's Ryo Kawamura, right?
that's exactly who it was. And I loved every second of it. So if you love Japanese MMA, this is going to deliver. I guarantee it.
Gotta admire a guy who calls himself Rocky 2 because he actually realized that Rocky 2 is the one where Rocky actually won, not the first one. Big misconception among
That
many
is a
people.
thought that I have so many times. People come out to the Rocky theme song. I'm like, don't they realize Rocky lost? I'm like, why are you coming out to the Rocky theme song? He lost. Yeah.
I mean, probably because of the fact that they want to feel what second place feels like.
You got to come out to Eye of the Tiger if you want to win.
Oh yeah, of course, most definitely. And by the way, just for the record, when it comes down to the T-Get show, I know we already discussed this. When it comes down to money, you can get the show for $11.71 US. And advanced tickets, of course, it'll be 2,000 yen, or at least $15, $15.61 US to be more specific, on the day of the show. And you get the event on Taiget.net. So just a little clarification on that.
And most of all, hopefully, CJ, hopefully this opens the door to maybe doing one-day commentary for Rizin.
One day. Well, I mean, yeah. I feel like I'm already overqualified.
I mean, come to think of it, as long as you don't stumble on things and pronounce things correctly, you know, you're good to go. No disrespect to Joe Ferraro, even though he might be listening and watching, but still.
Well, as long as I don't make creepy Joe Warren comments, I'll consider it a win.
Exactly. Stay the fuck away from those.
Exactly.
No, man, but really looking forward to it. It's good. I definitely looking forward to seeing what you can, what your take will be on the when it comes to commentary. Definitely, really, I'm always interested to see, you know, just like when somebody's making their debut, doing anything.
I'll probably just be like Stephen Wright in Half Baked on the radio, but you know.
Yeah, you'll just be the guy on the couch.
Exactly. Yeah.
But still, though, CJ, it's been fun talking to you as always, and you know, good luck on the fights, man. Hopefully, you make a career out of it, and if not, at least you had a good time. At least you had an enjoyable time, so to speak.
I'd also like to add in my closing remarks, you guys, your title for your Rising video cracked me up. Your Yachi. What was the title of your Yachi one?
Oh, I titled it Yusuke Yachi loses ... again.
Yeah, cold-blooded. You went straight for the throat on that one. Yeah.
I mean, well, technically, I'm not wrong because that was the second fight that he lost in a row. The first one of that was the Satoshi fight, but then it's kind of like whenever we would talk about like when Rachi was on a long losing streak, it'd be like, oh, Yachi loses again. Well, basically, one of my favorite quotes of all time is from Groundhog Day. When Bill Murray, and he's like, it's Groundhog Day again. And I love that line so much. And I was like, well, I got it. Like, I was like, oh, that's perfect. Yusuke Yachi loses again. So it's like, yeah, it's just like, this feels like Groundhog Day. It feels like we're just on a time loop of Yachi going back to his losing streak.
Yeah. Well, keep up the good work. It made me laugh.
I try. I listen. You have to come up with clickbait titles now to get people to even like look at your. It's gotta be crazy stuff like that. Unfortunately, now.
Well, I'm glad to see you haven't taken the one championship route and used glamour shots of all the fighters.
Oh no, well, now I gotta start adding emojis now, like fire emojis and like happy face emojis or like sad emojis now to the videos. Like Yusuke Yashi loses again. Cry, 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 fire, 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 fire. Red dot, red dot, red dot, red dot. Yeah. I'll say this, I do like how one does it though. Their clickbait video stuff are so hilarious.
They also will repackage the same video into like 20 different videos. Like they get a lot of replay value out of their content.
Listen, whoever runs their social media is so like on the nose, and it's like I don't know who they hired, but like clearly the $400 billion that they're making is going all to social media.
Yeah, perfect.
As long as it's not going into stupid Bitcoin, then that's cool.
Or crypto or Dogecoin or what, I don't even know what the newest
What's
coin
that new
craze
one?
is.
The Fame. What's this like thing where Mikuru might be fighting?
Oh, the
in
Polish
Poland?
one, right? The Polish Bitcoin. Daniel D was explaining about it. I was like, oh my God. Listen, it's not my money, it's their money. Go bankrupt for all. I don't care at this point. I don't know. I can't even put heads or tails. Ha ha.
Why do I feel like Mikuru is not going to be flying to Poland to fight somebody?
What he's gonna do? It's probably gonna be like a video message or something.
Yeah.
Like, I support whatever. Was it KSW? Was this KSW? No.
Fame, I believe.
Fame. Yeah, Fame. Yeah. It's gonna be like that or something. And it's just like, it's gonna be like that. It's gonna be the old school Mexican luchador promotion where they would say, "Oh, we're gonna have like La Parca or Mil Mascaras," and then they're gonna just hire somebody to be like play like Mikuru or something.
Yeah. Well, at first I thought it was one of those because there's that company now that does like the NFTs where you get the fighters, and if they win their fight, your fighter wins in the virtual game. I don't understand any of it.
Don't even get me started on those stupid ass NFTs.
Did you see that guy bought the NFT of the first tweet for like millions, and then he auctioned it off and only got like $100?
Oh, no shit. You get whatever. Sure. Listen, it's whatever the fad this is, I can't make heads or tails of it. But listen, if it somehow makes the fighters money somehow,
Exactly.
I got no problem with that. I'm totally fine with
100%.
Yeah. Then again, UFC is doing aren't they doing all the bonuses now, like all crypto based, I think?
Oh, from that new company, yeah. And
okay, so
meanwhile, Brave Gym's being sponsored by Tenga, so
that's
some interesting.
Oh man,
promotional
but
pictures.
CJ, we're really looking forward to you. I don't know if I'll be up watching the entire thing. I'm gonna try to catch at least a few of the fights, and then try to see the rest on demand. But listen, maybe you could quit your day job one day and become a full-time MMA commentator in Japan.
Who knows? Maybe that'd be great.
But other than that, it's been fun. We'll talk to you later, dude.
Talk to you later.